Hi, I'm Michael and this is California, and today we have a stimulus check update as well as we're going to get an idea of what the U.S. economy is going to look like over the next couple months because we got comments from Jay Powell, the chair of the Federal Reserve, about what the trajectory of the U.S. economy is showing him. Additionally, we got some comments from the White House that might put some shade on the possibility of a second stimulus check. And then finally, we got information regarding folks who have not yet got their stimulus checks and how they may start receiving them via a prepaid debit card. Now, before we get into that, if you like this information, if you find it useful, you find it helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you can get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. Okay, so first let's talk about Jay Powell. So he's the chair of the Federal Reserve Bank, and he had an interview on Sunday where he struck some pretty optimistic tones about the U.S. economy. Now, he did say that for the next 3 to 6 months, it's going to be likely that it's necessary to have more stimulus in order to avoid long-term damage. He also mentioned that the unemployment rate could get as high as 25%, although in April it was only 14.7%. But he did strike some optimistic tones when he started mentioning that in the third quarter, it looks like there could be positive growth in the economy. And that's great news because that means folks are going to get back to work, going to start making money. But he also mentioned that without a vaccine, we probably won't get back to 100%. Now, overall, this seems pretty positive because of the fact that if there's going to be growth, it means that folks are getting out of the house, they're getting back to work, and they're starting to make money. Because ultimately, that's what this is about, is making money. Because stimulus checks are great. They are going to help folks when they need it most, but they're not permanent solutions to this problem. And unless folks can get out of the house and get back to work, then we'll never get our economy back to 100%, the way it was before the pandemic. Now, on the other side of the coin, we have an economic advisor who said on Monday that the White House doesn't have much appetite for a second round of stimulus checks. In fact, they're in a situation where they think that they can just kind of wait it out. Wait and see is what he said. Meaning that they're going to hope that as the summer months come around, if the pandemic begins to subside, it means that they don't have to put any money out there. And you can see that this is yet another example of how time equals money. Now, he also said that they might have specific money to go out to specific industries. So things like restaurants or the travel industry or those industries that have been hit hardest by the pandemic, but not specifically any money out to the people. And in fact, they said they would not have an appetite to even start negotiating stimulus checks for people, for individuals, until June sometime. So they want to wait and see whether those numbers go down, and that'll increase their ability to negotiate and say, hey, we don't need to spend all this money on people, rather we can give it to small businesses. But ultimately, they do think that the economy is going to pick back up in the third quarter or the fourth quarter, just like Jay Powell. So they're both kind of on the same wavelength in that respect, but it's just a matter of how it's going to get done and how long it's going to take. Now, overall, I think that the White House is incorrect. I think that the best solution at this point is to get money out to the people because although they are going to start getting back to work, it's not going to be instantaneous. They're not going to have instant employment right away. So getting stimulus checks out to them, whether the pandemic subsides or not, is going to be important at this point to help them survive through the rest of the lockdown. So let's do a stimulus check update. So if you have not yet gotten your stimulus check yet, Steven Mnuchin mentioned on Monday that they're going to start sending out prepaid debit cards with stimulus check money on them. So previously there was direct deposit, there's paper check, and now there is a debit card that they can send out that's going to have your stimulus check, that $1,200 on there. And this is primarily going to be for those folks who just got their taxes done and processed recently. And it's only going to be around 4 million people. So they're going to start sending those out, and that is pretty strange because of the fact that previously they had 140 million people who got their checks via direct deposit or on paper. So it's weird that they're doing the last 4 million just on prepaid debit card. But the great thing about it is they should be sent out this week, and also they can be used in the normal way that any debit card can be used. So you can take the money out of an ATM, you can use the money at a store, or you can use it online or however you would like. So if you have just got your taxes done, you haven't got your stimulus checks yet, keep an eye out for those cards. And in fact, we have an artist rendition of what these cards could potentially look like. So keep an eye on your mailbox and see if those come in the near future. Last, and maybe least, we got an update from the IRS regarding their bringing on 3,500 new people to man their call center to answer questions about people calling for their stimulus checks. So if you had difficulty getting through before and no one would answer your calls before, well, they're probably still not going to answer your calls now, but at least now you know there's 3,500 more people who could potentially answer your calls and answer your questions about your stimulus check. So if you have not got your stimulus check yet and you want to reach out to them and figure out what the holdup has been, you can use the phone number 1-800-919-9835, and hopefully you'll be able to get through to them and find out what the status of your check is. Thank you so much for watching our video. I hope that you found it interesting or helpful or at least useful. And if you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you can get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. Also, if you have any comments, you have any questions, put them down below. We love to see your comments and questions, and we'll make a new video or a new post as soon as we can to answer those questions. Now, finally, we here at California, we know health insurance. So whether it's private health insurance or Covered California or Medicare or Medicaid or Medi-Cal or even health insurance for a small group, that is exactly how we can help. And our services are 100% free for anybody who's here in California, because I know it can be very frustrating if you are leaving your work insurance and going on to private health insurance, or if you're turning 65 and you're trying to figure out which Medicare options are best for you. That's what we can do. We can walk you through that process, help you look at the different plans, the different benefits that fit your budget and your needs. So if you have any questions about your health insurance, please leave a comment below and we'll be happy to answer that as well. So other than that, I'm Michael, and this is California, wishing you a happy, healthy day.